Hey everybody, what's up? I am Mark.
I'm Alex.
And this is
the SH0T Pod. Gotta be careful with my air drumming because I got stitches in my arm.
Yeah.
Got to be careful. I've been playing drums now that the world is kind of pretending to go back to normal. Whatever's happening,
It's like a new normal where there's something else going on that they're distracted by.
I don't know what's going on, but either way, they're opening things up, and we're playing gigs, and they're not asking for any passes, and they're not asking for, no one's wearing any masks when they want to go to the bathroom or anything anymore. So that's kind of interesting. But I've been playing drums with these stitches in my arm. It's been kind of fun. So I got to be careful with my air drumming. Mark? What's going on, man? How's things?
Well, you advertised in one of your videos there that you post to your page that I got a little bit of a streamer upgrade, and
yes,
I'm really trying to work on streaming and all that stuff, getting back into that. And I mean, out of everything, so anytime anybody's asked me like, oh, what games are you gonna be playing? And it's like, oh, okay, well, I do horror. I've got stuff coming up like Jurassic World Dominion. When that comes out, I have a Telltale Jurassic Park game that I want to play, as well as like I've never played BioShock, and I know a lot of people who have, and they're like, you haven't played that? No.
One of those.
So I just started playing that, and but the one thing that's drawn everybody, because these games are more rare, is specifically the Saw games. So Saw,
one of my favorite movie franchises.
Yeah, and then the game Part 2, Flesh and Blood.
Yep.
Again, these games, they're so rare that like nobody's playing them on Twitch. And so out of everybody, even other streamers, when they're like, oh, so what are you gonna play? Oh, I'm gonna play this, and they're like, oh yeah, cool. And Saw 1 and Saw 2, let me know. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's a smart. So do you have those yet? Do you have?
No. They'll be coming. Next pay, I'll get them.
Are they expensive though? What kind of numbers?
They are, because they're more rare Xbox games. So like you could get Saw 1 for like $40.
I think I talked to the last episode about my horrible mishap with having a Sega Saturn and then going, hey, I'm going to buy a game for this. And it's $500. I was like, I guess I'm not buying games. So I just hope it's not one of those situations where it's like, you have to go behind the counter and blow the guy at the shop in order to get the fucking, no.
Well, Saw 2 is the more popular one, and that one costs $70 to get. For an Xbox 360 game, that's kind of pricey.
Those are the numbers I'm looking for like some of the more action adventure Sega Saturn games, but still $70 for this. I'm like, that game was okay.
Yeah.
No, but those Saw games are pretty classic. I remember, this is a very appropriate moment to talk about this, because today we're going to be talking about the post-90s, the 2000s, the 2000 to 2010s.
Yes.
And yet during this era, I remember that was when I was watching, my roommate was a huge video game guy, and I had this big, beautiful CRT flat screen back in 2005 and 2006, and he would play Assassin's Creed on it because I was really bad at video games. And he had that Saw game.
Yeah.
He had, I don't know which one he had, but he had one of them, and he had to solve all these puzzles, and he was really bad. He needed me and his girlfriend on the couch, and we would not participate unless he was like, went out and was like, go get some beer or get some wine or something. You gotta get. So he would go out and he'd be like, okay, I got whatever you want. I got a box of wine for the girl. I got a case of beer for you, Alex. Now sit down to help me figure this fucking game out, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this era of the early 2000s, the availability to just go. I don't want to say it because my phone will activate, but just go, hey, Google, where do I find the upgrade for this character in this game? And hey, Google's just like, go to level 3 and jump onto the platform in the first section. And you're like, oh, fuck, thank you, Google. Like, it still did. Like, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't there yet. You could probably Google stuff and find like some text on pages of walkthroughs of games if you wanted to, but that was rare. It was harder. You were still kind of on your own. And with things being starting to get released online, the content was being released in pieces. So it was an interesting time in games. It was a big transition. It went from,
I mean, everything was a big transition going into 2000. You're talking Y2K. All right. Oh my God. All of our technology we did not design to have a 2 at the beginning of the year. What's going to happen? We're going to lose everything. Lights are going to shut off.
The robots are just going to become self-aware. They'll be like, we found the two. We found it. We're coming. Humans must be
Gas
destroyed.
pumps aren't going to function. What is going to happen?
Everyone saw The Matrix in 1999, and they're just like, this is what's coming. This is 2001. Yeah. Oh, also,
man.
2001: A Space Odyssey had been released, and everyone's just like, it's only 2 years.
I was I went to a Y2K party for New Year's, and there was somebody who got completely smashed, and this girl just like, we're all gonna die.
He's crying.
Oh my god! It's like, oh my god, just wait to see what happens.
Yeah, like calm down.
And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nothing happens other than the ball dropping, the same as every fucking New Year's.
It was the same as anything. It was pretty funny. It was only they waited till 2001, and then
Do you feel like a fool? Do you feel? You should feel like one. Do you don't? Okay, well you should.
It was kind of interesting. I was never too worried about it. It's kind of fun though because I was like 12 or 13, whereas you were like 17 or 18 or something like that. So you were out partying like an adult, and I was at home watching. Metallica played that New Year's Eve, and I was like watching it, like, oh yay, look, I love Metallica, they're great. I'm 12, and I think they're the best band with a guitar. Yay! I was going through a big Metallica phase around then, I'd say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, even look at Metallica's change. I mean, holy Jesus Christ! You know?
So I mean, for me, it was like real big because when I was 18, so the year 2000 in May, I turned 18, and shortly after that summer, my mom was like, "Hey, do you want to move out?" I was like, "Are you kicking me out?" "No, I'm giving you the choice." "Fuck yeah, I want to move out." So I moved out, and that was my first step out into the world, and you know, I could say I regret the decisions.
What were you doing for work to afford to live on your own at that age?
At that time I want to say I was probably at Tim Hortons.
Yeah, you can. I remember I was working at Tim Hortons.
Yeah, but that was
while
when
I
you
was
were
in
able
highs.
to. That was like, oh yeah, it's affordable back then.
But I was, if we're comparing it today, there's no possible way. But back there was this thing called opportunity in Canada back in the day, and it doesn't exist now, but it did back then, and you could leave your parents. I remember this shit. I was gone at 19. I think it was 19.
Yeah.
I almost was 20. I was almost 20. But it was always, because it was kind of always, my mom was a single mom, so it was always kind of just me and mom, and then, there was the stepdads in and out and all this kind of shit, but it was always, at the end of the day, it was just kind of her and I. And then I realized at one point when I got into my 20s, I was just like it just rent is just, it was cheap, right? Like it wasn't a big deal for me to go out and have my own rent, her have her own rent. Nowadays, everyone's just kind of like, why are we both paying $1,000 a month? Let's just share this shack, and then we can only pay $5 each, and then I'll have enough money to eat too. You know what I mean? It's weird, but
this shack that you're talking about sharing, it leaks from the roof, the walls. There are bugs crawling around in the walls.
Yeah, there are definitely bed bugs in the shack. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. I just read an article the other day that said Oshawa is the most expensive place in Ontario to live. That's not Toronto.
Yeah,
I didn't. That's like Ottawa. We've beat. Like some pretty nice cities that I would fucking run to like in a heartbeat to get the fuck out of here. We beat, Kingston. We beat, oh my God, we beat. I mean, I hate to say this, but Hamilton, there's a lot of jobs in Hamilton right now. There's money out there. Yeah. It's kind of a gross city, but we beat them. we beat, and the Hamilton's got like Oakville and everything right there.
Yeah.
It's in the Golden Horseshoe. What do we have? We got Whitby on the west, and we got fucking Curtis on the right, and what the hell, man? What is going on?
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's the rent situation is crazy. But so you moved out on your own, and how did that go? Did you party? Were you the party guy? Were you pounding the booze and?
At that age, yeah.
Yeah, you were giving it.
Yeah.
So I never knew this Mark. I hear about this Mark from our mutual friend Blake, but I don't.
Yeah, but like at this time, like. I was still kind of like, I have a fucking sister. Like that was my relationship with my sisters. I have a fucking sister.
Yeah.
and when I moved out into this house that I was kind of splitting with my stepsister's boyfriend and his buddy, so we split on this house, and they were iron workers. So they made the good money.
Dude.
So, but they'd have to work all over. They'd actually end up, we're going to America. I'm like, okay, cool. Just to let you know, I'm having a fucking party while you're gone.
Oh, they would leave? Oh, this reminds. Okay, so that's a good setup. I remember I lived into a place in Pickering in the 2000s when I first got with who ended up being my wife, and the people we lived in the basement apartment, huge, beautiful walkout basement apartment, and the people upstairs went on vacation every fucking weekend. They went to Cuba for like a week, then 2 weeks would go by, and they would go for like from on any long weekend. Every long weekend they would be gone the Thursday. They'd take the Thursday. They'd be gone Wednesday night. They'd leave for the whole weekend. They'd come back on the Tuesday. Oh my God, the parties we would throw. I would go rent drum kits. I wasn't allowed to have drums in the house. I'd go rent drum kit. I'd cut a whole album on the fucking weekend they were gone. It was great, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. So like
you had the place to yourself a lot.
In line of saying like, yeah, I have a fucking sister. So there are times where it's like, okay, I'm having a little bit of a party and talking with my mom over the phone. She'd say, oh, you're having a couple people over? Yeah, I'm having a couple people over. Why don't you invite your sister? I'm good. Invite your sister. I'm good. Mark, invite your sister. I'm like, I don't want to because then she's going to want to leave. And I'm not leaving my fucking house full of people to have to take her home. I'm not. And then, oh, that's not going to happen. You want to bet it's going to happen? It's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Invite your sister. Okay, Shannon, do you want to come? And then she's at this party, and then there's this guy there that she sees that she likes. And then she's like, oh, I really like this guy. And this guy's like, I like this Charlene girl. And then, okay, now I'm upset. I want to go home. And it's like, what? No, I'm not taking you home. Mark, bring your sister. I fucking warned you this was going to happen. I'm not fucking doing it.
You should have just got hammered and you'd be like, I can't take her home.
Yeah.
If I did, we might not make it.
Oh my God. I mean, I guess, yeah, around the early 2000s, I was a little bit of a fortune teller. A little bit.
See, that's the thing. Oh, I bet you my mom about this a lot. I was actually on the phone the other day with her, and I was just like, man, you screwed up with me. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm just like, you made, actually, maybe I shouldn't talk about, yeah. I said, you taught me two things, and it was the rudest thing you could do. You taught me how to read people.
Yeah.
And you taught me unconditional love. And I have yet to have either of those things. I've yet to, I'm always disappointed with how right I am. Like with you with the sister thing. Yeah. I knew this was going to happen. You know what I mean? And I do it with everything. I've done it with customers. This guy's not going to pay me. You know, this repair, this is not going to go well. You know, working at this job. Oh, I just started working at whatever place. This is not going to go. This place sucks. Like the first day I can call that I'm not going to last. You know what I mean? And then on other places, you start and you go, oh, I really like it here. But that guy hates me and he's friends with the owner and that's going to fuck me. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just get so good at it. And I'm never disappointed and I'm never wrong. And it gets to the point where you just want to be. And then, like I said, the other thing was just, loving people, no matter how much of a fuck up they are, just being like, yeah, I got you. I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom. These things don't exist in the real world. But anyways.
Well, I mean, here's a tricky thing. When you're growing up with your sibling, it's like you are closer to your sibling than your parent is.
Yes.
And that's the weird thing. So it's like, okay, if I'm going to predict this is going to happen with my sibling, fucking listen to me, all right? Because I see her fucking every day, whereas you're off at fucking work.
Yes.
Paying for everything, paying the bills and all that. And then when you come home.
How old's your sister?
She's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
So and then when she comes home and my sister's all like, oh well, Mom, I'm happy you're home. I miss you, blah 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 blah. And like regular, it's like, yeah, but you missed all of the other shit in the fucking part of the day. All right.
So my sister was 10 years younger than me, and then so the early 2000s for me, I got to be a dad. It was 2002 when they broke up. And then she's like, yeah, here's a 2-year-old. I got to go work 3 jobs so that we can go move out and live on our own. So I was crazy. So I was the same way. And I had the same kind of shit go down. It was very you get really good at predicting things because, when you see a kid and you kind of raise a kid, you learn these patterns. You're an adult now, so you're not a child experiencing the chemical changes. Yeah. You're the adult watching them happen, so you can analyze them and come up with hypothesis of, what's going to happen when the hormones kick in for this kid? And she goes to do that, you know what I mean? And you get so good at it that then you can start taking that predictive behavior and applying it to other idiots in your life.
I mean, with the stuff that happened in the teen years and all that stuff, it carries on through adulthood. Like, I mean, I'm not the closest with my sister now, but I still know it's like, okay, she'd probably do this, she'd probably do that, she'd probably, you know. And
actually, me and my mom have that conversation a lot because my sister doesn't talk to us at all.
Yeah,
like it's zero good communication, and we do this thing all the time where we're just like, because we haven't talked to her since right before COVID happened. So we're like, I wonder what her opinion on vax stuff are. Oh, she's probably super pro-vax. Probably like, oh, everywhere should have a passport. Why are they getting rid of the passports? Like, I don't know if it's true, but I imagine she's on the liberal side of these things. And it's just kind of funny. And then now this makes me feel so weird. I was dating a 25-year-old. My sister was born in 97, and the girl I was dating was born in 96.
Yeah.
So it was strange. It was really weird for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got really good at predicting her behavior, so much to the point where I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it got bad.
I don't know if I ever talked about this, but I need to talk about this. So, I mean, in terms of like dating somebody who's, you know, not far off from your sister's age, whatever. You know, my brother dated somebody with the same name as my sister.
Oh, I could never.
I couldn't fucking do that.
No.
And this girl ended up being like public enemy number one to me. Like, I couldn't fucking stand it. So at this time I wasn't driving and my brother was. And so I was like, okay, well, we both ended up working at Walmart, and that's where he met this girl and started dating her. So he would drive her into work too. Mm-hmm. But at this time I was a smoker. So I was smoking, and typically I get into the car and usually in the back seat, roll the window down, maybe have a smoke. But if my brother's driving, he didn't like that, so I wouldn't smoke. So there was another reason I was rolling the window down in the back seat, and that was because he kept picking up this girlfriend of his. And this girl, like, okay, yes, having acne is a serious problem. I get that. It sucks. But at the same time, this girl, I didn't like her, and she would get in and her face was caked with like medical ointment for the acne.
Okay.
And it would smell like, I don't know, like an open package of bologna. And I'm in the back of the car. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my God. So roll the window down. And my brother's like, you better not be having a smoke back there. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to air out the car a little bit. From what? From your fucking girlfriend's acne cream, all right? Fuck. And then he would roll the window up and shut off the controls. And then I'd start fucking banging on the door. Fuck this. This mom's fucking car. You can't control me having the window down. And like, it'd be a fight on the way to work. So, oh my God. I'm dying back here. This is a gas chamber.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That kind of takes me back to when I was a kid. We had a Mustang. Oh my God, we should talk about this in the 90s episode, and my parents would flick you cigarettes and the fucking ashes could go in the back seat all over me all the time. Yeah. I'd just be sitting there minding my business, just got a face full all the time. Sorry! Fucking two-door fucking cars. I was in the back seat in an illegal booster seat. You know, because back in the days, they didn't have all these laws and regulations about the kids in the back seat as much as they do now. We were like one of the last generations where you could get pulled over with a 6-year-old in the back seat that was like 60 pounds, and he didn't have a car seat. Nobody cared. Yeah. You know, it wasn't really that big of a deal. But yeah, the 2000s, I think one of the things that I wanted to kind of touch on early 2000s was the big jump to 3D games, right? Like you at the end of the 90s, everybody was starting to make that, you know, Mario 64 had come out, and then the Dreamcast came out, and then the PlayStation. But then once 2000 hit, it was universal. It was kind of like, okay, there's no more of this 2D side-scrolling shit. It was gone. And although it's kind of cool now that it's come back, and there's some retros, Mega Man 9 and 10 were back to their classic style, like a retro vibe. What else was that? Sonic Mania came out too, which is, you know, it was a classic side scroller looking thing. But it's kind of a vintage. They're doing it in a vintage style. You know what I mean? They're doing it to kind of throwback. At that moment, everything became 3D, and you know, games like Crash Bandicoot.
Well, I mean, they had to try new things, and when they try new things with, you know, classic characters, and it's like, okay, but why is this like this? That doesn't work. The only thing that actually worked like that was indeed Mario 64 was very successful to when on the Wii. When the Wii came out, they had Super Mario Galaxy, which was more of that 3D open world kind of stuff.
Galaxy was a fantastic game.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, that game was really, really good. I kind of think that was the last one. 64 was good. Galaxy, I really dug.
Well, GameCube, they had Super Mario Sunshine. That gets a lot of hate, but I really enjoyed it. I loved it.
Fucking can't stand that.
Loved it.
That was the one that killed it for me. I never touched the Mario franchise after that. Like,
really?
That was The last one. Yeah, I just gave up and was more of a Pokemon guy. I was like, if I'm going to fuck with Nintendo, it'll be Pokemon from now on. Pokemon was another thing. The early 2000s, Pokemon had taken over. So what did the first movie came out in 1998, I think it was, Mewtwo Strikes Back. And then they come out with Pokemon 2000 in the year 2000, I remember. And it was one of the biggest grossing movies of that year. It was a huge deal.
There was a time like late 90s where if everybody was into something, I tend to walk the other way.
Yeah.
I tried to not be
I did that with Star Wars. That's why I wasn't a big fan of the prequels, because everybody was like, I got a Darth Maul fucking backpack. I was like, you don't even know who he is yet. The movie comes out in a month. Idiot. Anyways, I just never understood it.
Yeah.
So and that's why I never got into it until I was a little bit older. I'd seen the old ones and I was like, yeah, they're okay. Fuck those. Fuck these new ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, no, when they were cool and they were out, I did not care.
There was so when I was younger, like little kid young, my mom had taken us to drive-ins. And when I got to go to the drive-in, I loved it and appreciated it for everything it was. And then throughout my teens, I never got to go. And then when I started driving, I'm like, I need to find a fucking drive-in.
Yeah, the Lindsay.
So this is a funny story, and the reason why I bring it up, Get Smart came out in 2008. When did Dark Knight come out?
2007.
2007. So when I was going to the drive-in in 2008, I realized I jumped up a few years, and we'll kind of bounce back and forth throughout. But at the drive-in, Get Smart was playing with The Dark Knight, and my mom's like, "Oh, Mark, well, I haven't been to a drive-in in many years. Could you take me with you to the drive-in?" I was like, sure, okay, whatever. So we go to the drive-in, and she's like, yeah, I'll bring a pillow. I'll probably fall asleep after Get Smart, because I don't really care for Batman. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So we get there. I don't care about Batman. We're watching the movie Get Smart. She had a good time.
That was what Steve Carell and
The Rock and Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway was that was when she was hot too. She just did Love and Other Drugs, and we got to see those wonderful boobies of hers. So she was in her prime.
Yeah, and so The Dark Knight comes on, and my mom, who was allegedly supposed to put her head on that pillow and fall asleep, she was into this.
No, the first scene where Joker's busting up the bank, and just the music, and the guy, he breaks the window, and he shoots the thing, and he goes across, and each guy's like, I was supposed to kill this guy, I was supposed to kill this guy, now I was supposed to kill this guy. And I can't remember the fucking name of the bank manager. He's a big actor, and he only had that small role, and he gets shot. And I can't remember his name. He's a big actor. He played the bank manager at the beginning of that fucking movie.
The name that comes up in my head is Eric Stoltz. No, that's not it. No, Eric Stoltz was the original person of Back to the Future.
He's been in a bunch of other shit. Anyway,
he was actually an actor that when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot came out and they saw that he was in it, they thought, oh no. They made Shredder a white guy, and it's like, okay, he's not Shredder.
Yeah. But anyways, then the bank manager goes, "Do you have any idea?"
William Fichtner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea who you're messing with? And he just pulls off the mask and he goes, "I just believe that whatever doesn't kill you makes you a little stranger."
Yeah.
And then the bass dropped to the bum when he pulls it off, and his face is creepier than the mask.
Yeah.
That moment. The first, I can just imagine your mom being like, "Oh, Batman's on, whatever," and then boom, he pulls that off in that scene, and she's like, "Whoa, this is a horror movie,"
So funny thing, by the end of that movie,
which is the greatest ending of all time,
at the end of that movie, Batman is the villain.
Yes,
and my mom,
you either die a hero. Or live long enough
my
to
mom
see yourself
is in tears. I'm like, why are you in tears? And she's like, because he's not the superhero anymore. I'm like, he's whatever Gotham needs him to be.
He's what Gotham needs, and I love it. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful fucking movie, man. I'm sorry. I'm with your mom. That movie rocked me. Like, I'm so happy that I'm not the only one. And I did go seeing it. I expected to see the new Batman movie, which I was excited about because Batman Begins was great.
Yeah.
But I thought they were going to just end it with the whole. Because he gives him the card on the rooftop, and it was a perfect ending to segue into Batman 1989. Really, because the Joker's the main villain, and they just went. I guess I don't know. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna get Heath to do it." I was like, "That guy from 10 Things I Hate About You is gonna the guy from A Knight's Tale." The guy is the Brothers Grimm fucking guy. Is that fucking guy? he's gonna be the Joker, one of the most iconic and evil villains of all time. Okay, all right, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and just fucking killed. Just one of the greatest villains, probably the greatest villain on screen ever. That's cool, man. I went back and saw it 6 times. I saw it the first time and loved it, and I went back 6 times. 4 of them were with other people. Like, you got to see this. I'll bring you. And then the other 2, I went with my band, the whole band. We played a gig, an afternoon gig. Yeah, original bands do that. Played an afternoon gig in Toronto, then we went to Scarborough Town Center and watched it again. Oh, my God.
In
going to a black part of town to see movies is just so much more fun. I'm sorry, going to see movies in a white part of town, people just sit there and it's quiet and it's boring and maybe there's clapping. But when you go to Scarborough Town Center and you go to see like a good movie, or you like, I went to see Straight Outta Compton there too. Like, it's just it's a party. Everybody's screaming and yelling and having fun. It's like all your best friends are there, but nobody knows each other. It's great. They know they have much more of a sense of community. I love it. Oh man!
So I mean that was the highlight. My mom cried over Batman. I was like, I can't believe that.
Chris Nolan, buddy.
Yeah.
He'll do it to you. I made my mom watch. My mom hates movies about space. She hates movies about space. Fucking stupid. You know, there's no sound in space. Why is there sound? I can hear things. It's dumb. You know. Why? What other things? I'm trying to think. Computers don't work like that in space. You know, this how it actually works. I read an article the other day. Like, she's very know-it-all of these things. So, and I made her watch Interstellar. Yeah. And she loved it. She went, nope, they win. Chris Nolan wins again. So he won she was like, that's a good space movie. And I think she rewatched it when it came out on Netflix. Yeah. Because obviously I think she's a fan of was that Jessica Chastain?
Yes.
Yeah. I never tell if it's Bryce Dallas Howard or Jessica Chastain. But yeah, she was great at it. And I mean, as much as I loved it, oh my God, Family Guy ripped on Matthew McConaughey so good over that Lincoln commercial. It was I don't know if you've seen it, but they're making fun of his Lincoln commercial, and he's driving, doing his weird talk. But when he looks in the back, he's got a couple tied up, and he's gonna murder them. It's so fucking funny, but he's still talking in that creepy low voice.
In 2009 is when I moved out with our mutual friend. That was when we ended up getting our first apartment together. And like the weekend after we moved into it, I had like this 48-hour flu where I like died on the couch. And when I was dying, I had the Dark Knight movie in my Xbox. But the Dark Knight DVD, it just repeats. So like for 48 hours, I'd seen the Dark Knight at least 13 times.
That will ruin any movie for anybody.
But it still didn't ruin it for me. Like, I'm just that big of a Joker fanatic that every time, like, I'd be watching it and kind of doze off and come to and like, oh, it's at this part, doze off, come to, oh, it's at this part, oh, doze off, come to. So yes, I saw it a bunch of times, but like not back to back because I'd pass out, wake up. Oh, it's this part.
It's not just there's so many parts to it. The Joker's huge. It's a huge part of it. There's the line, there's the how did I get these scars stories, then how there's different ones, which is sociopathic behavior to a T. Well written. Like, he did some research, you know?
Yeah.
And then Heath's delivery was obviously big too. But Michael Caine, okay, first off, Michael Caine, the scene where he's at the party and he grabs fucking Maggie Gyllenhaal with the knife and says, "Come here, I like you."
She wasn't expecting that.
She flat out. They cut. There's a point where the camera goes, and if you fucking frame by frame it, you can see he cut it right before she went. We're done, and she laughed for a while. She's like, I can't fucking deal with that right now. Like, she was upset. She's like, nobody prepared me for this. And Michael Caine was another one who said, I've been doing movies forever, and I've never seen a fucking set get so quiet and like, who the fuck is this? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, are we making a movie or is this a joke? Like, this guy's fucking scary, and he's really grabbing us, and he's being physical, and this is a little off. That scene, I mean, for us as audience members is amazing, but when they were making it, it was really weird and difficult. And she almost dropped the movie over it, man. Like, it's a good thing they signed a lot of paperwork before they do this, or Maggie might have gone home. Part of the reason I fucking hate her in that movie. But anyways, Katie was way better in that role in Batman Begins, and it's too bad I think she was pregnant. That's why she couldn't do it because of the scheduling. But anyways, it's not just that. Eckhart as Harvey Dent. Like
Oh, yeah.
he doesn't get enough credit the same way that I'm sure he'll get his credit eventually. No, I was gonna say Phil Collins. I don't know why I was gonna say that.
What?
The guy who's playing Penguin in the new Batman movie,
Colin Farrell?
Colin Farrell isn't getting as much credit as he deserves, but he's gonna get his own show, so he'll get the credit then.
Yeah.
But because of Paul Dano and Pattinson and what they're doing on screen together. But yeah, I like that Eckhart was an amazing villain. I love my favorite scene.
Thanks for listening to The Shot Pod.
To hear full episodes, you can find us on Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Google,
iHeartRadio.
and much more.
Please ball kick subscribe.
Abuse that little bell to be notified of new content,
We'll have a lot more coming.
and it's always fun.